My next story comes from my last week at this beloved wilderness program, and we are backpacking in another place this time. Not the place with the ER week, but a different place, which was actually really nice because this is the coldest place that we go. Even it was in August at this point, and it was like 80 degrees every day, but Utah was going through a heat wave, and so everywhere else was like 100 degrees. So we actually got very lucky. So we're going through this route where we camp at the bottom of the mountain the first day, and then we have to hike up the mountain the second day, camp at the top of the mountain the third day, and then the fourth day we go back around the mountain, and then the fifth day we go back to where we started. It's the loop. The second day we were hiking up the mountain, and this one girl, she wasn't necessarily new, but she was going through some stuff, and she kept on refusing throughout the whole day. I'm gonna call her Eliana. Her name is Eliana now, and she just did not want. She just didn't want to. We so it was 2 miles to get up the mountain. And given it was very steep, but it was just 2 miles, and it took us a good like 8 hours to get up because she kept every time we would take a break, she would take off her pack, sit down, and refuse to move. However, 4 hours up, we found out that we could get her to hike nonstop if we sang the poop song. If you do not know what the poop song is, it is a potty training video for toddlers, for parents of toddlers, mainly toddlers, to be able to get them to go poo in a toilet. However, I believe that it's probably has more views by depressed teenagers than toddlers. Uh, Here's a little clip of it here, if you want it. I'll leave the full song down in the description because it's a masterpiece. But I had brought it up a couple of days before because it was a memory that had just come up, and she thought it was hilarious. So we found out if we sang the poop song, she would hike. Finally, we got to camp just before it turned dark, and we'd been hiking all day. And we went to sleep. And in the morning, she was going through some stuff again, and she was screaming and she was yelling, and there are still a lot of people in my group with screaming triggers, so they had to take her far away from the group, which technically isn't even allowed. There's supposed to be like 2 guides per student at all times. It was weird. The ratio was weird because there were 2 or 3 guides per week. There could be up to 10 students, but if there's an individual student, then there has to be 2 guides on that student. It was weird. I couldn't tell you what it was. Eliana and a guide were off to the side. We couldn't even see them, which was also a problem, but what else could they do? Like, people were almost having panic attacks because she was screaming, and, like, it was just a bad situation. And the thing is, there wasn't a water source near here. We were running out of water. So the company sent someone from operations to help us out, and this wonderful guy, and he had brought his car. He had driven there, and he had brought a lot of water with his car. The thing is, he couldn't park right near where we were camping, so we had to hike there. So at like midday, we only have like 3 liters of water left for the whole group, and so we hike there, and everybody's able to get water. And she had to hike too. Eliana had to hike too, but she had to stay like far away from the group because she was still not doing well, and that kind of sucked. Uh, but we were able to get there, and then we got water, and we stayed in the same campsite for another night, which technically wasn't really supposed to happen, but it's fine. So then the next day we had to hike, otherwise we wouldn't be able to get to where we were supposed to go. So we were supposed to, as I said, we were supposed to come around the mountain, and then the next day we were supposed to go back to where we were. Thing is, since we lost a day, we had to go all the way there. So that day we had to hike like 9.5 hours with our packs on. Thankfully, a lot of it was downhill. Um, but it was a lot. And what was really nice is that she was coming around, and we were thinking of stopping at this one place to camp, and then we were gonna have to hike more the next day. And she was like, no, I think we can do this. I think we can hike all the way to where we were supposed to get today. And so, like, she came around, and it was really cool. But that was very stressful because we didn't have water, and if it hadn't been for that guy sent from above from operations, we would not have had enough water. And I'm also grateful because the alternative water source, which was a little bit farther, is basically just a big tractor tire with a bunch of rainwater in it, and it has a lot of algae and a little bit of cow poop in it, and it's bad. It was bad. So that was my last week, and then that night we got to our campsite. The school I'm at right now, the TBS, Therapeutic Boarding School I'm at right now, only took take-ins on Monday. And at this point it was Sunday. And so the reason they took people in on Monday was because of quarantine, and they were only starting quarantine every 2 weeks, and COVID, yay. And my wilderness had a certain day that they had graduates leave, and Monday was not that day, so I was not at base camp where I would usually be for me to leave, so I had to leave on a Monday. I ended up getting here on a Tuesday anyways, because I spent a night with my family in a town near here, and they were fine with that, but I had to leave very early on a Monday, and so I went to bed the last night, and I woke up at 5 o'clock. No, I woke up at 5:30 the next morning. And I had to get ready in the dark, and it was really weird. And then I ended up sitting in this just on the side of the road, this big dirt road with in the middle of nowhere, obviously, because we're in wilderness, with a guide for about an hour because the transports had been giving the wrong coordinates, so they were an hour late for me to get me, and so they finally came and got me, and at this point we were running low on time, and so they basically sped down this dirt road to get to Salt Lake City at some ungodly miles per hour, and I ended up getting sick. Not throwing up sick, but I felt super woozy. So I ended up getting there on time, but it was a very weird departure, and then I went on the plane and I ate way too much junk food on the plane. I ate a bag of chocolate cookies. I ate an entire king size Kit Kat bar. I ate a bag of almonds and a liter of Pepsi, which, by the way, and you might know this, you might not know this, Coke is a lot better than Pepsi, in my opinion. I only drank the Pepsi because it was the only thing they had, and I didn't have a lot of time to search around for Coke, so I only drank the Pepsi because I had to. That's all I have for now. My wilderness stay was overall good, although it had some wacky times. Then I look back on those wacky times fondly. I'm glad I'm not there anymore, but honestly, if I got to go back and I would stay for 3 set weeks, I'd do it. If you want to, subscribe. If you don't, that's fine. If you want to, like the video. If you don't want to, that's also fine. Leave a comment down below and tell me, have you ever gone camping? And if so, did something go wrong? If so, tell us. I'd like to know. Anyways, just have a great day, and until next time, goodbye.